Hey guys, what's up? It's Schlaw coming back to ya with another episode of Car Rides with Schlaw. And yeah, I'm definitely still in the funk. There's not really too much to report. I just don't know. We're at like a low point. I guess some ways we're at a high point, but we are, also things swung down. I think the general trajectory is still okay, but I guess a lot of doubts and things like that I don't know, they just seem like they're back. And things are seeming very uncertain now. Like all of a sudden, for seemingly no reason. It's just rough. Things have just been rough and weird and strange. Don't really know how else to describe it. I guess I have to really work on finding some kind of a sense of balance in my life. I need to have outlets that are fun or that are enjoyable or that feel good. Sorry, I just said but it's 'cause I'm kind of confused about there was like a situation where some cars were kind of in front of this intersection and I did not know whether they were actual cars or not. So it was a little bit weird. Bit of a weird sitch. My fault. But I still said I don't know. Because I was having to do a lot of thinking and nothing came to mind. But yeah, I guess in terms of the show, I'm in a funk, so I don't really know what to say about that. I've had my ups and downs before, but I don't think August or September is typically... Actually, maybe that isn't true. Maybe there is kind of a pattern to my mood swings. Yeah, that actually... yeah. Maybe August is not really a good month for me, historically. And now that I think about it, I can't really recall... That's something that's interesting to talk about as we go through life and I'm in this funk. Kind of trying to go through the months and think about what months have been good or bad for me. There's definitely been some pretty bad and pretty dark Decembers and Januaries. Those are usually times that are not... they haven't been good pretty consistently. Like, I don't really remember December or January being all that great since I was a child. And then February and March are actually, more... Yeah, they're usually pretty okay. I always kind of feel like the winter is a reflective period for me. And it's usually where a lot of building or growth happens. And then once the spring and summer hit, there's just like a lot of indulgence. And then, that kind of loosely cycles. Although, again, I'm not really sure how truly accurate what I'm saying is. This is just me trying to briefly run through things while I'm driving. But I think March is typically a very good month for me. I think there's been a lot of good Marches. And then, April and May is kind of when things decline a little bit. honestly. Like, I do think there's kind of a consistency to that, where April and May and then June, yeah. And then like June, July, August, it's usually kind of trash. Maybe like the end of June is a little better. But yeah, I think pretty consistently there's kind of, for some reason, I want to say like late February to early April is usually a good time, and then late June. No, then like yeah, May isn't usually all that great. Most of June isn't, but then the end of June is usually okay. But then July and August are usually not good. And then I guess it's difficult to figure out. No, I would say September and October are pretty good. You know, if I had to put a finger on it, they're always okay. I don't know if they're like the best time of year. And then again, November, like I said, December, January, usually not great. Usually not great times. Difficult times. Maybe not the worst. And then, like I said, I mean, March is usually a good time for me. And this is kind of a cycle, so I guess I'm not super shocked, but what I'm dealing with now is just a particular dip in things, and it's just very like frustrating and upsetting. I don't know. Like it's a hard thing I'm dealing with. It's something I've never had to really deal with, and it's tricky. You know, it's not something you're used to. That's what I'm going through, and I'm just trying to process it, and it's difficult. You know, I'm trying to think of the law of attraction, but it's hard. I think some things, you know, you need time to hurt and for things to run their course. You just can't. And I think that there's just some times in life, like, bad things might happen, you know, and I don't know. It's a shame, but I don't know how else to justify it. You know, it all goes back to my original thought process and all, but we still focus on gratitude, you know. I'm still happy to be in the situation I'm currently in, even though I'm getting my hours cut and a lot of hope was swiped away from me. My life's still better than a lot of people's. That's always what I have to remember. Like, at the end of the day, my life is better than a lot of people's. And so, you know, financially, it's more average in terms of income, but my ability to manage my finances is very high. I think so. And just kind of prioritization of money to joy. Because I do still, you know, I have spent a lot of money, but it's always like really effectively. Like the density of my money is the density of my expenditures is very high. That's what I mean to say. Like when I was getting my desktop built and getting the parts for it, I was doing it fairly slow, and I buy basically everything I get. I buy off of eBay pretty much. And so that saves a lot of money, just period. But when I was getting the desktop parts, I obviously did it kind of slow over a month, and I got each part at a pretty reasonable discount. Like I paid a good amount less than most people would pay. And so that adds up, buying as many things as I buy through eBay over the course of years and years. I mean, I don't think there's that many people that just have the abundance of possessions that I have. And I wouldn't say it's anything too valuable. I'm not like sitting on piles of gold, which I could, well, not exactly, but that would have been money better spent, really. But I think I just have more material things than like anybody. I actually don't think I know anybody that has like, I just have a lot of stuff that is not particularly sellable, but probably sellable a little bit, But it's kind of a mixture, right, between, I wouldn't say it's always quality. There is some quantity. It's not just all quality. Some people may have a higher dollar amount of possessions, but I just have a lot of stuff. I think a lot more things than most people have. There's kind of, I don't know, it's just a little interesting, the abundance in that, I guess. There's like a sense of abundance. Now, I really want to tighten that up. I don't particularly like what I've done with the spending. I think I went too far, and especially the desktop, not really necessary, but we're here. So there's not too much, I always get all like caught up in hindsight 2020, and I have to stop doing that because it's just doesn't make any sense. It's very, very silly to think and act that way. So I have to just get over it. But I'm always thinking in hindsight. It's just always what I do. But anyways, back to the gratitude. I mean, my life, it's still probably better than most people's. I think the biggest hurdle I've had to get through is my mind. My mind is so obsessive, and it's hard for me to just breathe. And it's a mind that is not good as a teenager, and I think will be good as an adult. I think as an adult, I will be in my best time, and we're kind of already seeing that. Because my childhood was great. My adolescence was horrible. And then my adulthood so far seems, like I said, less horrible. I'm doing fairly well for somebody my age. Just not in income. In income, I'm probably right about average. I'm right around like average in terms of income, but I may have more material wealth than a lot of people. Like, I've probably spent less on food than anybody else. Like, I'm probably easily within the 10th percentile or 5th percentile as like percentage of my money spent on food. Like, I was always like very wary of that. And even now that I'm trying to eat well, I think that's still probably the case, that I'm under the average of money spent. It's just, again, a lot of people are malnourished, so I think that's cheating. And really, I still should get some vitamins and supplements, but I keep putting it off because I don't know. I get nervous. I don't know. Like, and I'm just, for now, I'm kind of just doing the bare minimum. Maybe I will get to a point where I feel more comfortable about things. But yeah, we're really trying to hunker down and just, try to do the best we can, I guess. That's kind of the bottom line. But back to what I was saying, yes. Even my adolescence, still had redeeming factors. Most of the pain I went through was social. Social pain, not having friends, being an outcast. The friends I did have didn't really treat me right. You know, it wasn't bad, though, on paper. I mean, you know, some issues with my family potentially, you know, but I mean, I feel like everybody can say that. I still think I have a better relationship. My relationship with my parents, I mean, it very well could be above average. That's like extremely possible, you know? So as much as I say that, and I say, like, well, you know, I had some friction with my mom especially, I think a lot of people have familiar, or I don't know if I'm using that right. I feel like you can say that, but I'm not sure. Familiar in respect to family, but whatever. A lot of people have family drama or family arguments, and I don't think mine was the worst. You know, like, people have worse families than mine, for sure. So it kind of gets to the point where, I think I've described this before, like, when it comes to money, I've always had it, and I've always had enough, but I've never been rich. I've never been, like, although, I see that, like, it's almost kind of changing. Because, again, I think I have more than a lot of people, especially my age. But what I don't have is, like, rent or a house, that's why. Like, obviously, if I had that stuff, be a completely different case. Like, I don't know. So, but that is the thing. I mean, is it really relevant for me to be in this funk? Do I still have a lot of good to focus on? Yes. You know, the thing that happened to me is horrible. But I don't know. I still have so much to be, like, happy about. And I don't think everybody can say that. I think there's a lot of people my age who are just not getting what they should have, really. Not getting opportunity. And we're going to see damage. We're going to start to see a lot of damage, I think, as my generation ages, because I was a slow starter, but there's also going to be a lot of other slow starters who were even slower, and that prevents them from really getting it in gear. And then you have a lot of people who are not self-sufficient, which is really one of the things I always worried about was, what's going to happen when my parents are gone? I'm not going to have anywhere to go. And at least now I know I'm self-sufficient. But like I said, I mean, I kind of undersold myself, and it's probably relevant to still have a bit more confidence. And I was trying to be more confident, but what just happened was really a blow. It really took me, it took me a hit. Took a chunk out of me, seriously. And so now I'm just worried. And then, you know, I had this opportunity, I tasted it, of working those really long shifts and making a living wage and things like that, and just how happy I was to do it and to have the schedule, avoiding the traffic. It was all just such good things, and then now I'm back to having to deal with the traffic again. I'm back to not making a living wage. It's very frustrating. Now, I did look it up, and you are not able to avoid overtime. I was wrong. I don't know what I thought was the case, or where I might have misread something somewhere. I can't Like, and you know what? That's what I don't think is right. I should be able to sign that away. There's no reason why, if a person didn't want overtime, they couldn't or shouldn't be. Like, I don't know. The reasoning behind it, though, is it was originally set up in a way that makes a lot of sense. Like, the whole point was you should get credit for working a lot, right? And then also to spread the workload, to kind of like ensure that other people can get employed, because you don't want one person doing all the work. And if you maintain a 40-hour week, it kind of ensures that more people can get jobs and things like that. But here's the problem. A lot of these laws were made so long ago that they're not super relevant anymore. So now 40 hours a week doesn't cut it. So by having overtime, which that just makes it so companies don't want to pay you, that's all it does. It doesn't end up helping the worker. It doesn't help me in this situation, because in this situation right now, I could probably make more money if there wasn't overtime. And that was never the intention of the law, but things were completely different back when the law was put into place. It was a totally different situation, and it hasn't been updated ever since. So obviously I agree with the concept of overtime, but I think individuals should definitely be able to waive it if they want to pursue extra hours, and where otherwise the employer would stop you. It's beyond me that I literally can't. Like, I literally can't sign a form or something that permits my employer to not have to pay me overtime so that I can work extra and, make a living wage, right? I don't know. Because at this point, it's actually worse. Because now, in order to make a living wage, because of that 40-hour rule, you have to work 2 jobs, and that's just ridiculously more mentally taxing, and it's way harder to coordinate too. It's just way less efficient. Then you're dealing with like 2 commutes. There's a lot of problems with the whole 2-job thing. It really doesn't make any sense. Whereas it does make sense to just work more at the same place. Now, of course, if somebody wants to work 2 separate jobs, more power to them. Some people would probably get bored with the same job, and maybe they'd need to switch it up and have 2. And that's fair. But I'm talking about, in terms of a choice, I think it's pretty obvious that it's easier to just have one place to stick with as opposed to 2. It's just, you're slicing down commute time by a lot, and yeah, it's just easier. It's, to just have to do one thing instead of having to do 2 different jobs. Like, I don't really know. But the more days go on, the more I am considering it, because I don't really find joy in a lot of things, and so it's just more stuff to do. That's kind of how I see it. I guess I don't really know where to look. I mean, you go on Indeed, but most of the good jobs, they're not really on Indeed. And that's, Indeed is a whole other, nonsense kind of thing where, it's hard to hard to really find or get noticed properly through that avenue. You kind of have to, I don't know. I mean, I looked at it months and months ago, but you really don't see anything too good. And then, I'm also limited to somewhere nearby or in between my job and my house. It gets tricky, And then there's the weekend job idea as well. But like I said, I need something that gives long shifts. Especially for the weekend job. Like, I don't know, I need like 10 hour, 12 hour, even like 14 hour. I need long shifts for sure. I haven't looked this up, but I'm assuming you, on your tax return, you end up having to pay way more taxes when you get a second job because they probably lump the income together. But I actually don't agree with that. I think it should just be left as it is. Like, each job should be its own separate taxation, because there really should be some kind of reward for going through all that. I think it's kind of crazy. I mean, of course, it depends. I guess if you're already rich, yeah, I mean, that could be kind of tricky, but I just don't like that idea that, like, if I get a second job, I'm going to start getting, like, taxed that much more, especially because, I'd rather just work the same job, and it's a lot of extra effort to do too, But yeah, I wonder if there's like a place that would do like a night shift, something until 10 p.m. or something, because then I'd really be racking hours. It's possible, but I really don't know. I have to kind of be on the lookout. Because it's possible. If anybody can do it, it's me. And it's better to do it earlier rather than later. If I do the whole 2-job thing, I really should have done it already. Like, because it's always about money early. Once you have a foundation, then you can kind of kick up your feet a little bit. It's always about, like, now. It's not the future. The future, it doesn't matter what you do in the future. It matters what you're doing now. How much money do you have now? Because if you have a lot saved up, then you don't really need that much income, technically. So it's kind of the conundrum, like, if I'm going to do this second job thing, I really need to do it, like, urgently. And then in the future, I can just do one job. But having that early money is like super important. I'd definitely be pushing it, though, with that kind of a schedule. But if some place has kind of like a night shift that's shorter, it's possible. But again, it's still much less efficient than if I could just work at my one job. So I don't know, maybe there is a place that would pay overtime. It just doesn't seem like that. I'm not sure. Stuff I should probably look into, because then I'll be able to live normally and all that. Well, then I won't be living normally, but, if you do 2 jobs for a few years, front-loaded like I'm doing, then again, like I said, after 5 years of that, you'd probably not need to do that anymore, because you would have been able to save up a lot. In the short term, you have a pretty good buffer. That's kind of the idea. Because it's just so valuable to get to grab money and hold it. That's mostly what it even is, you know? That's why, like, it doesn't matter as much if you get paid later. If you get a higher income job later, it doesn't even matter as much. Like, you don't need as much money after you already have some saved up. So I don't know. I have just about no idea, but I really should consider it. I definitely should consider it. But hey, I mean, I would hope that this show will become a second job. I don't know. I mean, it's becoming kind of second nature to me at this point when I'm talking here and now. It not really putting a whole lot of concentration into things. You know, I feel like I'm just completely in autopilot right now talking, which is a good sign. But I don't know if I've become the best talker, kind of like how I wanted to. I'm not entirely sure of that, which was the whole idea. I had so many crazy ideas. And it'll be interesting, this series in retrospect, just how it all went down and everything, and documenting the stages of it, the mania, the decline in mania, the plateau, you know, the different stages. But I gotta figure something out, and I'm not sure, because I'm not happy with how much money I'm making. Some seriously tough times are coming, and like I said, boy, I don't even remember what I was gonna say. What was I about to say? I don't remember. That was pretty goofy, wasn't it? That was pretty goofy. Yeah, I have no idea. I don't know. I'm like blanking out pretty hard. Ironically, traffic was not as bad today. So yesterday was Monday, and usually, usually Monday would be better. Usually Monday and Friday are the best because people tend to take off those days, and then the central days are the lesser. So I don't know. Today, it wasn't so bad. But there was still traffic, you know, not to sugarcoat things or anything, but yeah. So I don't know, as I go through life, try to figure things out. What can you do? What can you do? Trying my best out here, you know? I'm just trying my best. But yeah, I've thought about it. I mean, I think I've talked about, I guess I'll just say this because it was something on my mind today. I've obviously talked a lot about tech, and I love technology, but I really think we're at a point where the tech now is so good, there's just genuinely no reason for me to buy anything new anytime soon. Like my phone, the 16 Pro Max, 1 terabyte. It's pretty much infallible. Like I just don't understand. I mean, sure, I think it's going to take a few more years for them to reach something that's, truly like end game, but this is very close. The only thing I get frustrated about is screenshot swiftness. It kind of isn't able to pull it off sometimes, and that's annoying. Like if I do a quick screenshot and quickly do the copy and delete, it sometimes doesn't crop it like how I wanted it. And I assume that has to do with the CPU and the GPU not really being quite strong enough or adequate. So it's just, something to point out, really. And it's something that would matter to me. So, I mean, it's not completely infallible, but besides that one very specific instance and complaint, I don't really know how much better things need to get. I don't know how much possible. I mean, the fit and finish on the phone is amazing. It feels very premium. The battery life is great. I never have any battery issues at all. And the screen is literally too good. It's really good. It's a really good looking screen. I genuinely don't know. It's just so good. I don't know how much better it needs to be. I almost think it's like too good. Like it almost looks too good. That's why I usually put the night shift on a lesser warmth, just to kind of tone things down a little bit, make it a little calmer. It's better for you, So I have that on because it almost, and I mean, it doesn't look as good, but yeah, I don't think that's a bad thing, to have it a little more subdued, a little calmer. So that's what I mean. I just don't, it just seems like so good. It's basically infallible. Like I said, there's still some speed issues, but they're very minor. It wasn't like my 14 Plus. It was pretty major, especially because they didn't update the CPU that iteration. That was the first time they did it. The 14 still has the 13 CPU. But, the CPUs now are really strong. They're really good. They're not perfect, but we're pretty much like, that's what I'm kind of trying to say. I'm sure in 2 years and probably 3 years, that's where we would reach some kind of true infallibility about it. You know what I mean? I really believe that, where that screenshot issue probably won't be an issue anymore and all that stuff. But even the phone I have now, it's a very slight issue, whereas the 14 Plus, it was horrible. The 14 Plus would be glitching out and not cropping it properly left and right. This one, it's a lot easier to deal with. So it's really good. And it begs the question of that I just don't need a new phone, and I'm probably not going to need a new one until at least the 19, or maybe even the 20. I just don't know. Now, knowing me, that's kind of why I'm saying that, because I love to get the new thing. So I'm probably thinking about the 19. But I would say I honestly wouldn't need another one until the 20 or the 21, most likely, because this one's so good. It's just because I'm such a tech person, I'm probably going to get a newer one. And then my computer, that's just I'm probably just never going to need to get a new computer. That thing is so stacked, and I don't even I'm not even utilizing it. There's nothing I do with it that's that crazy. So it's just so stacked. And again, it's the same thing. I mean, I could easily probably go another 5 years before it actually makes sense for me to get a new computer. So I'm hoping to finally start saving some money and to kind of chill out with funneling it into so much tech, you know? I just don't know. Sorry, just got completely sidetracked thinking about something. Sometimes that happens, the thoughts just overtake me, and I don't really remember what I was talking about now. But what I will continue to mention is just still trying to be grateful that nothing truly bad has happened to me. Like, things could be a lot worse, and they're not. So, yeah. You gotta do that. There's really nothing else to do. Really. And that's kind of what I agree with about the law of attraction, is it is a good concept to follow, just not, I think at its extreme, it doesn't hold as much weight. I don't know if it's literally, no, I mean, it is kind of, it does kind of work, I guess, yeah. Kind of makes sense. Yeah, I don't know. My mind's randomly blanking. It was a pretty good episode, but now I'm out. I'm still dealing with duds. I'm still not 100%, guys. You know, it's hard to get over what happened, so. But I'm trying. I'm still trying to show up, and that's my hope, is that people will see the commitment that I've poured into this series, and something will come of that, you know. That's what my hope is, at least. And besides that, like I've said, I don't know what else I'm going to do. It's a pretty interesting thing to do, and there's not too much else I can think of. I mean, I could be learning something. I guess if I went to college, this may have to stop, because I'd probably be trying to learn stuff during my car ride. But for the time being, it's here to stay. It's definitely here to stay. But it's been Schlaw, and now it's time to buy Schlaw. So, see you, Schlaw.